Questioning the Author, 11th Grade English by Katie Meyer. What is questioning the author? Questioning the author, QTA, is a comprehension strategy that models for students the importance of asking questions while reading. Why should teachers use this strategy? The QTA strategy demonstrates the kinds of segments students need to ask in order to think more deeply and construct meaning about segments of the text as they read. The results of implementing this strategy. Teachers asked questions that focused on considering and extending meaning rather than retrieving information. Teachers responded to students in ways that extended the conversation rather than in ways that merely evaluated or repeated the responses. Students did about twice as much talking during QTA discussions than they did in traditional lessons. Students frequently initiated their own questions and comments, in contrast to rarely doing so in traditional lessons. Students responded by talking about the meaning of what they read and by integrating ideas rather than by retrieving text information, and student-to-student interactions during discussions developed. How to plan a QTA lesson. Planning a QTA lesson for a narrative or an informational text involves a three-stage process that requires the teacher to identify major understandings and potential problems with a text prior to its use in class, segment the text into logical stopping points for discussion, and develop questions or queries that model and demonstrate how to question the author. Use QTAs in the classroom. When using QTAs to comprehend stories through narrative queries, students become familiar with an author's writing style and as they strive to understand character, plot, and underlying story meaning. These are some questions to get you started. How to use in the classroom. Guiding the QTA discussion. Here's a variety of discussion moves to guide students. Marking. Draw attention to certain ideas by either paraphrasing what a student said or by acknowledging its importance with statements such as "good idea" or "that's an important observation." Turning back. Make students responsible for figuring out ideas and turning back to the text for clarification. Revoicing. Assist students as they express their ideas, filter the most important information, and help students who are struggling to express their ideas by rephrasing their statements. Modeling. Think aloud about an issue that is particularly difficult to understand, one that students are unable to reach without assistance. Annotating. Provide information that is not in the text so that students can understand the concepts fully. And recapping. Summarize the main ideas as a signal to move on in the lesson. Recapping can be done by either the teacher or the students. How to use in the classroom. The thoughtful use of questions is vital for classroom discussion. As learners actively explore and clarify meaning, guide the discussion as you progress from one text segment to the next. Students can also be encouraged to formulate their own questions as they read a text in order to raise questions as they read, to monitor their comprehension, and to identify gaps that may exist in their expectations for the reading and the actual text. Following is one way to encourage students to ask questions as they read. Have students listen to or read a portion of the text from the beginning of the selection. Ask students to write 5 to 10 questions that they think will be answered by the remainder of the selection. Discuss some of the questions asked by the students before reading. Write the question on the board. Have students read to determine whether the questions are answered, which weren't, and why not. After reading, ask the students to explain why questions were answered, which questions were answered, which weren't, and why not. Discuss this with students, the similarities and differences between their expectations of the reading and the actual text.